It is Tuesday night. Once again, I'm kind of doing this a little earlier than I planned. Another adventure came up, and I'll get to that in just a minute. But first, welcome to Just Joshing. My name is Joshua Penteleresco. I write stuff and podcast too. That is going to be my new business card I'm working on pretty much as we go at this moment. Make a long story short, I did a show last week kind of by accident. I did my show last week with that in mind. I figured it'd be a one-time deal. I just want to say before the pardon me, before I get to the second event, I'll talk about the first one. Pure Spec is a science fiction convention based out of Edmonton, Alberta. It is a very nice, very friendly place. It was a little smaller than I expected, but it was really, really fun, engaging. I got to talk to some really good people. Got to meet some really cool people too. But I got to hang out. I got really cool for me. Highlight personally was having dinner with Randy McCharles and Aviva Bell Herald. Randy's coming up very soon on the podcast, and I haven't quite gotten around to talking to Aviva yet, but I'm hoping to remedy that somewhere down the line. I need to actually, before I continue, also thank Aviva and her husband Dave for bringing me out there to Edmonton. They kind of led the way, because Aviva mentioned it to me when I did this author event 2 weeks ago, about this thing in Edmonton, and things kind of just fell into place, and I was able to go. And so without them, it wouldn't have been possible. Well, this week it kind of happened again. Right before I left to go to Edmonton, I just kept getting this email from C4. C4 is a very large convention based out of Winnipeg, Manitoba. And C4 is apparently a big deal. And it's and I made a promise to a couple of my friends out in Winnipeg that I'd come to the show next year. But I just kept getting links about tables and costs and a few other things. And last week I'm thinking that's kind of weird, because usually when you do when you're doing a convention and they're telling you about all the stuff, that usually means you're going. Or as far as I knew, I wasn't going. So I email and contact C4. Turns out that yes, indeed, there is a table available for me if I wanted it, and so I took it. So this Thursday night or Friday morning, I am heading out to Winnipeg, Manitoba to do C4. So I'm kind of doing this on the fly here. I've already done one take, hoping this one sticks. So yeah, I mean, that's been my week. It's been like literally one crazy adventure after another. But it's the life I want. I don't want to be like. It made me think about a couple things this week too. Monday, before I got the table stuff, I applied to work more hours on the day job. Just more of a guarantee. I'm getting ready to move and getting ready to settle in to a long winter. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe I should just guarantee myself some stuff for the really lean months of January and February. But yeah, right now what's going on is every weekend on Friday, the reason I took this current shift I'm on is so that my Fridays would be very fluid and flexible. And right now, that's paying huge dividends off, as I'm literally flying across the country. I'm going up into northern Alberta. I'm getting my stuff out there. And this is why I took this job. So the thought crossed my mind, as of tonight, it's like, do I really leave this shift? It's not because I necessarily care for some of the things I see on it. I'm not really going to go into the politics of the day job. It just, there are some people I personally do not get along working with, and I'm a professional. I don't have to like you, but just like I said, there's just some work habits they have I'm not a big fan of personally, and that's all I'm going to say about that. And so I'm like, okay, maybe I go back and kind of work on my own, and they'll put me back in the same trailer and do my thing, and I'll go home. But no, instead, I'm like, well, I'm able to now go to a show in Winnipeg, Manitoba, because my schedule is that conducive. I can go do a show anywhere, on any weekend, anytime. And while that may mean that my next 2 weeks I suffer, you know, it's one of those deals where those next 2 weeks, you know, or those 2 months, or whatever they may be, case may be, is worth the long payoff so I can go do some of these things. And it's not like I can't work the odd day if I want to. So, those thoughts are there. And so, you know, with that all in mind, I'm like, you know, it is kind of going the way I want to go. I'm being at work less and pursuing my stuff more, and I'm getting my stuff out there, and it's been a blast. I did get a couple of more podcasts out there in Edmonton, and I'm hoping to get some more out in Winnipeg. I'm looking forward to the show. So, my guest this week is Ella Beaumont. Ella is the acquisitions editor of Edge Publishing, based out of here in Calgary. They are a science fiction and fantasy publisher, probably one of the better publishers on the market in terms of quality and delivery. I was hoping to run into Ella, this weekend at the show in Edmonton, but she wasn't there. They've been working on a program called Edge Light, which is they've been going into breaking into ebooks and trying to figure out their niche there, and it's been interesting to watch, and I do talk to her a little bit about that. But I gotta say, and I'm hoping if she's listening to this that she doesn't kill me, because I am a little scared of Ella, but not because she's not a nice person, but because, you know, I gotta tell you this, going into this conversation, she was my last interview at When Words Collide. She went to me, so I feel like talking for about 20, I think, minutes. I'm kind of tired. That was the plan. We had a nice conversation, and I was about to have her plug her social media, and we ended up talking for another 15-20 minutes. So I'm actually a little scared to give out her contact info going into this, just based on the fact that, well, you know, she's intimidated, she's intense. Like, I will say this about her, and I say this in actually the most flattering ways. She's really driven and determined. She has made Brian Hades, the publisher of Edge, job much easier. Being there, she takes things by the bull. She takes the bull by the horns, literally, and just goes with it. And it's been impressive to watch her develop just from what I've seen at conventions. I can only imagine what that's like from Brian's point of view. Like I said, and it sounds like I know Brian well. It's because I kind of do. There's definitely a mutual respect there. But in any case, Ella is definitely an engaging gal, and I really thank her for her time on here. And if she lets me, I'll put the social media contact info at the end. I'm still a little scared, a little bit. Anyway, in all seriousness, here's Ella Beaumont.
Relax. So, I'm here with, oh God, I feel nervous already. Ella?
Ella.
Okay, excellent. Ella, she is, I hope I got the official acquisitions editor.
Yeah, that's correct.
Of Edge.
Science fiction and fantasy publishing. Don't forget that. That's important.
I know, it is very important. So I got to ask a wonderful question. How did you get into the position?
Lots of hard work, lots of persistence, and just always being enthusiastic and letting everyone know that, yes, I would like to be in this business.
So you've been buying down?
No. Brought him coffee, maybe.
Okay, that works. No, you were, one thing that's impressed me when I have seen you, I only seen it a few times so far, you try to be really on the ball with everything you seem to be doing. Do you do a lot of preparation for what you're going into the day, or you just have it all just kind of categorized already?
Right now, the learning curve for everything I'm doing is really, really steep, but I don't want to have to relearn it every single time I do it. So I really, really make a point of learning it one time good enough that I can understand it and parrot it back, or even deepen that knowledge and come to my own conclusions, and then have an intelligent discussion about them.
No, that's cool. Like, it really does. No, I'm impressed with everything you do. I just wanted to say straight up, it's really
awesome. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah. So, okay. So you're doing acquisitions.
Yep.
So you don't have to give me names. I don't want names. I don't need to know. What's the worst one you've read? Is there a worst one?
No, I mean, you see some pretty rough things. Most of the time, you're just looking at things that aren't ready. Careers that haven't really, been around long enough to know what they're doing. So Uh, Not really a worse one. I mean, you get the odd one, which is a lot of printed material, pictures, and
Really?
cover art that an author might like to see, and things that are in really strange fonts. Those they have this strange. Yeah, this isn't serious. Or if they are serious, I can't take them seriously. So
you just basically thanks, but no thanks. That's kind of
Yeah.
so cool. So, do you read all the slush pile at this point?
Yeah.
What other do you see at this particular
I
point?
am currently obviously reading the slush. I do all of the contract negotiations, the contract drafting. I do all of the scheduling. I do all of the preliminary cover design. I do all of the preliminary marketing gathering. I do all of the keyword marketing, all of the categories, all of the important little background material that you need to gather up for each project so that you know what you're pitching. I do all of the back copy and proofing for all of that stuff. Sometimes writing back copy for authors' work, and then I do all of the editing.
It sounds like you've actually learned a lot just doing your job on a regular basis.
Yep. And I haven't been doing it that long, so steep learning curve, like I said.
No, it really is. Again, small scale things, I do me, but you're doing everybody. Is it intimidating sometimes, some of the people you actually do business with?
No, I don't think so. Everyone has something different to bring to the table, and from the people who have their careers, on track and started and well underway, or even at the top of the food chain, all the way down to the people who don't have any experience. Everyone's got something to come to the table with. So knowing that, and knowing that everyone, we're just all people. So given that, and the fact that you just go around doing the best that you can do, and no, not really.
No, I just kind of wondered. Coming into this, were you a big reader?
Yes.
What did you like reading?
Fantasy, pretty much, exclusively. Though some science fiction for sure, and a little bit of young adult, but fantasy for sure.
So who are your faves?
Weirdly enough, Paul Kearney, and then John Marco, which is a slightly more obscure author.
Oh, I know who he is. Absolutely.
Lois McMaster Bujold, for sure.
Ooh, okay.
Elizabeth Bear.
Okay.
Elizabeth Moon as well. Barbara Hambley.
You haven't sent me yet.
Nikki Zucker-Reichert.
I haven't sent me.
Um,
Shire, by the way, is really good.
Patricia Briggs, for sure. Kenneth Opel was good.
I actually no. I think a little underrated, to be very honest with you.
Yep. Ian Colfer.
Man, that guy kind of rare.
He's really good. He's got an interesting it's kind of middle grade, I guess you would call it. It's the Artemis Fowl series.
Oh, okay. Ian Colfer, yes.
Yes.
You know my favorite part about that? The code at the bottom.
Yeah.
I'm a bit like
you decipher it?
Well, no, okay.
I did actually decipher it.
And so did I. No, but I'll tell you where my big thing with that is. I see really my favorite section of bookstores are adult. And it's not because I think that the science fiction and fantasy don't suck. So there's a lot of good, like you mentioned some. I could add a couple names, Melanie Ron, Kate Elliott, and Robin Hobb, I think is really, really good.
Yeah.
Right? There's a lot of good people there. But the really cool thing for me about when I look at the young adult section, I get a more unique experience when I read a young adult book because of how the books are A, designed, B, their presentation is unique. Do you see Hugo Cabret at all?
Should I say that again?
Hugo Cabret, or Hugo Cabret, I'm not sure if I'm saying it right.
Sounds familiar.
It's a guy by the name of Selzniak that does it. It's the closest thing to a comic book I've seen in novel form. He has 20 or 30 pages sometimes straight of images just moving forward. And then he'll go into prose for like 20, 30, 40 pages. And he'll mix-match the two. And I think young adult right now, like to me, is what in some ways science fiction should be. I think science fiction should be very much cutting edge when it comes to presentation. Because it's the ideas of the future. That's what you're playing with in science fiction. And fantasy, even though it's not really science fiction, they play a lot in some of the almost like the flip side of the same coin. So you think you'd want to create a more interactive experience. So for me, one thing I think a lot of traditional publishers don't do enough of is playing with the formats they have, which is why your Edge Life intrigues me because you guys actually can start to do that.
Yeah, for sure. And science fiction is actually going through a mini renaissance due to the advent of the digital and e-publishing, which is really, really, really nice to see. That genre is probably doing, from what I've kind of felt my way through, I feel like it's one of the genres that's doing the best in ebook form. So that's nice to see. Young adult is interesting on a hard copy scale because all of the money from the big guys is going in that direction right now, and they know that the covers and the packaging is what is going to sell 90% of the young adult fiction that's out there. So they get a real opportunity to be really creative with these nice big budgets that, well, actually I can't actually talk on their budgets or not because you never know, but honestly they are producing some really nice packaging in the young adult genre.
No, I work for James A. Owen, and I hate to say it, his influence is very obvious in my work. No, I don't. My stick figures revolve, so I can't draw. But if you notice of anything I've done, I usually incorporate an artist and an illustrator to change the presentation of my work. And I think a lot of that comes from when I did work with him, and that's what he did. Is have you read Here There Be Dragons? Okay, that's his series, and how he incorporates illustrations into his stuff. I learned from that, right? So again, that's just my own take on it. I guess, for lack of a better thing. It's just, to me, I'm really fascinated like with the way literature is going because you're well aware of this. Content is more demand now than it probably ever was, but presentation now is up in the air, and that's a really interesting thing from a lot of angles. That's just my 2 cents on it.
Sure.
So, I mean, I'm sure you guys are starting, are feeling that way maybe a little bit yourselves, which is why you're doing Edge Light.
Yeah, really, Edge Light is an effort to be more fast on our feet, to travel at light speed in comparison to our old publishing model, which really was a glacially slow process. But yeah, we want to be able to make decisions on the fly and have those decisions have an effect immediately. So and it is a great way to learn, but it's also being able to say, I'm in control of this. For the first time ever, we're actually in control of our own sales pages, as opposed, like, for example, on Amazon, which is not the case for the regular print distribution content that we put out because it's through the distributor, and the distributor is the one in charge of the sales pages. So to know that you have an error on a sales page and then to have to wait 3 weeks in negotiations to make sure that error gets resolved and that the distributor contacts Amazon to get that resolved. Whereas in the Edge Light program, if we discover an error on a sales page, in the next day it's fixed.
That must kill you.
Well, it sure is inspiring and freeing now to be able to say that we can make those changes, like just a snap of the fingers. So definitely I'm excited about the Edge Light potential. We are going to be exploring with media content in ebooks, but probably not too much. But I do have a project in the pipe coming down the road that's going to have a lot of illustration in it, and I'm really excited about what that's going to do. So,
actually, personally, I'm really curious, and you gotta let me know when that's out, whatever.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So, and the other thing, at this moment in time, are the books coming out? Have any of them really had your imprint on them yet? I know you haven't been there that long, but I'm sure you had something to say with some of the books coming down the line at this point. So have any of them come out right now?
Yeah, we have, our first one was released in June, and we do a pre-order, 3 weeks of pre-order, in which it's actually for sale for a cheaper price than the regular price. So we're releasing them right now at $2.99 on pre-order, and then they transition to the Kindle at $5.99 from there, and then we'll run promotions, etc. Yada yada until a set point where they'll actually release to all of the rest of the venues. But our first novel is actually currently available and for sale, like out of pre-order already. We've actually been getting some steady reviews on it, so its sale page is looking pretty good. I'm pretty excited about that. It's a science fiction adventure title called Europa Journal by Jack Castle. I highly recommend checking it out, especially if you're a fan of any of the Stargate series. If you like that adventure, sci-fi, a little bit of pulp, a little bit of action, just a great wild ride for sure. I highly recommend that. But we actually have 6 titles right now that we have officially announced. That 5 of them are currently in pre-order state. In fact, tomorrow is the end of the pre-order for our second title, which is called Bad City by Matt Mayer. And that one is a post-apocalyptic literary story set in Toronto about a character who grew up in India and him struggling in these 2 communities that have grown up around the chaos and destruction that was the end of the world. And he's a thief character. He gets enlisted to go steal this hard drive that somebody has actually found in the city, the place where nobody goes. It's very, very, very well written. And so, yeah, tonight at midnight is the very last time you can get the pre-order for $2.99. And then it goes to $5.99. But tomorrow, 5 to 7 o'clock our time, we're going to do a Turn On Your Kindle release party, in which we just get together, celebrate the fact that it's out there, get people to all turn on their Kindles at the same time and actually download the book for the very first time. So it's going to be fun.
Looking forward to it?
Oh yeah, definitely. We did one. We ran one for our other book, and it was a really fun event.
Okay. So now, as very cool as July is, I understand you have a club that you work on.
I do.
So tell me about it.
All right. So I organized, created, whatever you want to call it, Write Club, which is a writing productivity group that meets every Sunday night here in Calgary. And our entire goal is to just get together with a bunch of writers. They can be any skill level, any genre. It does not matter, because all we're there to do is to write and to celebrate the fact that we're all working on projects to stay motivated, basically. And we run, 20-minute word sprints at a time, and then we do socializing, and we also put together quarterly marathons in which we actually have a 2 to 3 days of like 12 hours of just solid writing. We rent a loft space, and we get coffee together, and it's a really cheap entry fee for those marathons, like $10. You get a wristband, and you can come and go as much as you want. And yeah, just writing for the sake of writing.
That's very cool. So, is there a set meeting place, or does that rotate every?
Yeah, no, we have a great coffee shop that loves us up in the Northwest, just near 69th Street Station. It's the Waves up there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I gotta actually go one of these times.
Yeah, you should for sure.
Yeah, you should. Yeah, and then you can put me through my bases on Okay. Two last questions. I'm sure. And then that way you don't give me the int. Oh, I don't think it's been as bad as you thought. One. Do you have any work yourself that you publish?
I have not published anything, no. I do write, dabble primarily. And I'm not in a huge hurry to. I got still a lot to learn. Being an editor, it puts me in a unique position because I know how to write badly. I know what bad writing looks like. It makes it very, very challenging to write first drafts. So I'm always constantly looking at my first drafts and going, okay, there's things wrong. And pushing through to the end was never the answer for me, because I would look at that and go, this is, it's like stacking a deck of cards on something that only has 3 legs. And no matter how much time you spend stacking those cards, at some point somebody's going to walk by and the whole table's going to fall out. And even if you stack those cards perfectly, that's not the problem. So fixing that table first is key. And
you're an interesting trap. Just speaking as a writer, you're an interesting little trap. Okay, I'm going to do outside writing thing. An example I do. I play Magic.
Okay, yeah.
I build decks. I actually homebrew my decks. I don't actually go.
I actually dabble in Magic the Gathering.
Yeah. I'm a red, white, blue Jessica. I love Jessica.
Okay.
That's my current favorite thing to do. I always dabble with colors and ideas of how cards interact together.
Yeah.
And one of the things I've learned playing the game is that there's always the interactions everybody else goes with, because they're very strong, very powerful, and they work. which is great. I try to have fun. I try to find interactions that people don't see that are so very powerful and get the job done.
Yeah.
Last standard, I came up with a Sultai deck. I used Agent of Fates and Artisan of Forms, right? And I wrecked everything but Ugin. I couldn't beat Ugin, but I could beat everything else. And it was a really fun deck to play, and no one saw it, right? But the thing was, I got my butt handed to me quite a few times figuring out how to make this deck actually work.
Yeah.
Right? As a writer, even though you know that it's a house of cards that's going to fall, I almost want to tell you you should push through anyway, because it's not the first draft. It's gonna, like, doesn't matter who you are as a writer, it's gonna fall apart. It does not matter unless you maybe Stephen King, because Stephen King, I don't know if you've ever seen his prose today, is so clean.
Yeah.
I talk about not waste, like as an editor, you know, I'm sure you see no wasted words, and it's like, wow, like it's incredible.
Right, which, and yes, you're right. And in fact, you know, that piece of advice is everywhere, and I ascribe to it, in fact. However, it's not an easy thing to convince someone who has an editorial eye that it to even invest any more time in something that is so fatally flawed, especially early in my career. You know, early in the stages of things, I just didn't have enough words under my belt. I didn't have enough experience under my belt. So really, every time I would sit down to write a new book, it was me learning something else about the industry.
You remember how old you are?
I'm 26.
Wow. Wow. As straight up compliments, you are incredibly driven. And I mean,
Thank you.
It's really, you're incredibly driven. You're very strong. You have a very clear idea of what you can do. And you like being very methodical. I'm willing to bet that's
I tend to be a planner as opposed to a pantser.
Again, just off the top of my head, something I'm just talking to you.
Sure.
You're super methodical. You're very deliberate with what you do.
Trying to be always,
and,
yes.
Yeah, you're very deliberate. You're very you come across very strong and very confident when you do that. And I'm going to say this: Brian is super lucky to have you.
Oh, thank you.
You know, because seriously, finding strong anybody with that kind of poise, especially at your, I'm saying this at 33, but at your age, really incredible. But okay, I'm going to use I'm going to use another example.
Yeah. Well, before you get too far on that, I should mention what I've actually been spending my time on before I really entered into all of the things that I now do for this job in acquisitions. Early this year, I discovered that the only other way that I was going to practice endings, because of course, if you write too many beginnings, you miss the opportunity to practice endings, which is the major fatal flaw of never finishing a project.
Yes.
So what I decided to do was I decided to remove myself from the internal pressure and the internal stress that I put on myself in order to produce a good product.
Yeah.
And I decided to write fan fiction.
That's an interesting approach.
And the reason why I decided to write fan fiction is because without all of those pressures, it allows me to just write and finish stories of whatever it is. But it's a way to just get the words down and to experiment with storytelling.
And oddly enough, methodical. I hope you don't mind that observation.
Oh no, not a problem.
Yeah. I'm just going to say, like I said, I'm not trying to tell you what to do, because certainly you have a clear idea what you can do better than I do in the 20-some-odd minutes we've talked. Mm-hmm. But when you do actually decide to go for it, I have no doubt you're going to be successful. I really don't. You just seem like you have, again, you know what you want, you know how you're going to do it, you're just going to like, bam, you're going to do it.
Yeah,
that's just
you got it.
That's pretty much, I hope
no one will see me coming.
I disagree. I think everybody sees you coming.
Really?
No, I'm not. Talk to your boss. I mean, seriously, he'll tell you the same thing I'm telling you right now. There is no doubt in my mind you're capable of it. It's not even a question.
Well, yeah, it's in my mind. I hate to sound overconfident, but for me, it was always a question of just a matter of time. Provided I keep working at it, keep solving those issues, keep learning the craft, and never stop learning the craft, really. And eventually, it's just going to happen.
Yeah, no, and I agree. All right, I'm just gonna say the last thing, and then I
Sure.
promise because I look at like my sister.
Yeah.
She's more artistically gifted than I am, and like she does photography, paintings, drawing, and it sounds like pressure says, yes, I really do believe in you. It's the way it is, but the thing of it is, she would right now tomorrow if she went out there, she'd get a cover. I'm actually half convinced, just talking to you now in 20 minutes, if you decided tomorrow that you wanted to publish a novel, it'd be published.
Oh yeah.
No,
That is the goal.
No, but I know.
The trick is then the time to
No. I know you're
write
talking.
it.
No. Time right now. The time right now might be a real challenge for me. And I can totally see that. I'm challenged with my own stuff. You're managing. You're Brian's lieutenant, and he's put this responsibility on you because he knows you can handle it. And I have no doubt. I'm actually kind of scared if I ever have to negotiate with you. Right. Yeah, I'm not. It's one of the few times I can actually look at somebody across the room. It's like, you might be more confident than I am, and that's scary to me because I'm pretty confident too myself, right? But all I'm going to say is, at some point, you have to be bold. There's certain being methodical is fantastic, and honestly, there are a lot of advantages to that approach. And I know you're going to get there on your own time, but there is a certain. Even now, I've been writing since I was 13. I'm still learning. And I make a lot of mistakes even now, and I know what they are. And there's a part of me that just accepts the fact that I'm going to be blind to some things just based on the fact that I'm by myself doing my craft.
Oh yeah, that's inevitable.
That's inevitable. But
with everything anyone ever attempts, yeah,
absolutely. But at some point, you got to be bold, and I think with you. At some point, I personally, I'd love to see it, and I know this is going to sound really cocky from my end. I just like to see just one day go up to Brian and say, I'm going to do a novel now. Do you know what he's going to say? Go for it, because you're going to do it. And I again, not trying to flatter you, trying to butter you up. I've watched you work now for 3 or 4 times now. I've seen how you carry yourself. Okay, you either are the best liar I've ever seen, right? Or you're somebody that has a clear idea of who she is and knows how to carry it out. And personally, like I said, I don't know if I want to negotiate with you. but in all seriousness, no, I think when you decide to, you are going to do very well. And I, for one, when I see that day comes, I'm looking forward to seeing what you come up with. And I think all it's really left to plug, all this is your contact info. Do you have a Twitter, Facebook, or anything like that?
Now that is one of my absolute, utter weak points. I barely know how to navigate a cell phone.
Okay, but these things are actually complicated.
Well, okay, complicated or not. It's like you'd think that would be the one thing in which I would be able to excel at. When we first started figuring out, me and Brian, that we wanted to work together, the very first position that he tried to put me in was social media marketing, and that was a total and utter disaster. And I learned a lot, but I also learned that I absolutely dislike social media now. With that being said, there's so many advantages to being able to use that as a language. But to me, it's almost like a separate language.
It is. Okay. It is and it isn't. This is I can't believe I'm telling Twitter. This is the second time today I've given Twitter advice, believe it or not.
Okay. Well, I had a Twitter account, and I still probably have one. I enjoyed it.
No, I know. I'm just let me go here.
Okay.
I think you need to hear this. I interviewed Joanne. She's a haiku poet. She's a sweetheart, but she's super, super shy. So she's looking at Twitter kind of like, kicking a raucous giant wave.
Yeah.
She's kind of scared to see what would happen go in. And this is what I told her. I'm going to tell you the same thing. You're awesome being you. Just be you. And don't worry. I actually would be afraid for the troll that trolls you. I would be terrified for that troll. I think he'd be found under a bed, sucking his thumb or her thumb, as the case may be, going, "Well, I do that. I'll be good from now on, mommy." And that's actually what I see. I don't think anyone will mess with you after once or twice. But I also think, though, Twitter, to me, okay, I use Twitter. I don't really like. I see social media as a tool. It needs to be. It's there because you need to advertise yourself as a brand. Today in today's market, writers and it actually doesn't matter. Artists of any kind doesn't really matter. Need to do that because people, as much as like your product has to be good, or at least it should be good. No comments about anything else that isn't. But you're selling yourself. And the best products are extensions of you, and also to some degree, when you sell yourself, you're selling an extension of you when you go out there. I know how to talk to people. Case in point, you said we go 20 minutes. I will bet you that's closer to 40 or 50 right now.
Well, I want to be polite to the audience who is listening to this, right?
Yeah, that's totally a way. No, but the thing, right? I protect myself a certain way too. There's certain confidence in how I protect myself. I'm not lying to you. I'm not bullshitting you. I'm just being me, and you're the same way. I somehow don't think bullshit's in your vocabulary, actually.
Oh, I don't know about that.
You can smell it a mile away.
I don't know. To be good at sales, there has to be a certain amount of bullshit that happens.
I think that's more like you swallowing your tongue. I don't
know. I work at a garden center part-time, as well as doing all the acquisition stuff that I do, and I work at the customer service desk, which is a position in which you just plant troubleshoot all day long. People come to you with plants going, it has spots on it, what is wrong with it? Or I have insects, or all of my tomatoes died, what happened? In which you then have to very carefully ask questions to, suss out, to solve the mystery of it. But at some point, you have to start slinging the bullshit, even if you know what you're talking about, just to sound like you really unequivocally know what you're talking about, because otherwise they don't want to believe you. Mm-hmm. I am good at slinging bullshit.
Okay. Have you bullshitted me once or twice in here?
No, actually.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, I believe you. I don't know anything else, but I believe you. But no. But like I said, I'm me, and I just feel if you're just you'll be fine.
Well, it's not so much that I'm leery about it. It's more that I don't see what I'm getting out of it yet. For me, it's not a tool that I want to explore. I know it's there. I know it's important. Okay. And eventually, this weekend, this is my first convention in which I'm actually being out there in the position of acquisitions editor. Before this, I was no one. No one would really know who I was. And I didn't really want to reach out and make connections over social media. I have my own little avenues for that, and really, I'm a really antisocial person to begin with. So I just, want to stay at home in my own little bubble and email people. I'd rather email people than Skype or FaceTime.
No, I get that. Believe it or not, as outgoing as on my team, I really do get that, but. I learned that in this game, you have to be out there, you have to be open.
And eventually, that's exactly what will happen.
Yeah.
But I don't feel a need to rush into it before I really...
No, again, you can this is one of the few tools I would say be methodical with and go with it. But yeah, it's something at some point you should, especially when you're ready. I'll say this, when you're ready to actually really go all in on your book, or you feel like, okay, I really should start this, then at that point start playing with it. Even if it's just a tweet a day about flowers in a garden. I'm not. Look, I got 2,000 followers on Twitter. I don't know how I did it, to be very honest with you. I don't have an answer to you. But I do that, 1850 or 1860 or somewhere in that department. But my credits in comparison to a lot of people, nowhere near as much. And I have more followers than I do. Right? I don't get it. But the only thing I can figure is I'm either really, really goofy, or I'm just being myself, and I'm just not sugarcoating it. I think with you, same thing. Like I said, I fear the troll. The troll's here. I fear for him. Not fear him. I fear for him. Like legit. I just think somehow it's like it almost be like a Wednesday Addams syndrome. Do you ever see the idea? I just see just letting him come from the sky. You hear the hounds of some kind of justice, and then it'll be gone. And I don't know how I would say that, but that's just the way it goes. And I can tell you needed to laugh at least a little bit today, so I'm glad I was able to do that for you.
Oh yeah, lots of laughs today. It was a really good day.
Yeah. So okay. So you have no social media contacts.
I mean, I do. You can go find them, and you can find out that I really don't use them. It's
Okay.
like this howling wasteland. There's a name out there connected to things that don't actually see activity.
So okay, well, we got most some here. So we're going to talk about really quickly the book coming out again tomorrow. And let's go with, I guess, the Edge website, I guess?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. If you look up the Edge website, I actually think it is www.edgewebsite.com, and I may be mistaken. You can use Google. You'll find it.
Okay.
Worst case scenario, look up Edge Science Fiction and Fantasy Publishing, and that will lead you in the right direction. The launch party happens on Facebook, our Edge Science Fiction and Fantasy Publishing on Facebook. I don't know how else to say that because I don't really use Facebook. I use Facebook about as much as I use Twitter, which is to me barely at all.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you try to find, you'll find that there's tumbleweeds and maybe a UFO.
Oh, and you may find a blog that I started back when I started thinking that I was going to write a novel. And, crickets. I think I may have done 6 posts, all of them one, 6 days in a row of posts, and there hasn't been anything on there since.
That's awesome. Okay, I'm going to say this. I mean this. It was really a pleasure to chat with you. I think when you decide to write a novel, you're going to take the world by storm. And I legitimately, honestly, you're very sure of yourself, and I mean that in the best way possible. And I think it's going to really translate for you no matter what you decide to do with your life. So I wish you truly the best.
Well, thank you very much. And if you read whatever book I put out there, you're going to tweet it to your followers, right?
Yes.
Excellent.
I don't want to get that lightning in the rain. So let's see how long this actually was. 33.
Well, anyway, that is the interview. I'd like to thank Ella Beaumont for her time and effort, and it was definitely an engaging conversation. She's been doing a lot of work on the Edge Light program. If you go to the Edge website, which is www.edgewebsite.com, you can take a look at a lot of their product, and if you're looking, there's at their site at the moment, you can see a colossal amount of Edge Light books. I personally checked out the online launch for The Red Wraith by Nick Weissman. But other ones that look intriguing are The Rosetta Man. That looked really good. It's done by Claire McCaig. It looks really, really neat. Railroad Rising, The Black Powder Rebellion by J.P. Wagner looks amazing. But the one I'm really looking forward to out of the bunch is Bedlam Lost by Jack Castle. You can go to Edge website right now and get your copies, or go to Amazon or any other place where you can go to online books, and they will be there. And it looks really, really incredible to me, and I really hope you guys give it the opportunity to check those things out. Well, and now that that's out of the way, I want to talk about Storm Dancer. I've been promising for weeks the opportunity to read my book, and I feel this is the time to do it. So, with that all said, I want to take a little background. Storm Dancer is the sequel to The Watcher. It's not a perfect sequel in the sense that it's the same character's point of view. I shift characters after 2 chapters into the story. The Watcher, without giving too much away, gets kidnapped, and his friends have to rescue him. But their friends are going through kind of a very personal little thing. Specifically, Kristen, the main character's point of view, she was happy with the way things were, especially with all she knew, and it was just taken away. And for her, feelings about the Watcher were complicated. On the one hand, there is a part of her that still respected how brave he was. But on the other hand, she was happy, and now it's gone. And that conflict comes to a head in a chapter called Jailbreak. So I'm going to read that chapter right now. It's called Jailbreak, and I hope you guys like it. I awake to metal bars around me. I'm lying in a perfect square. Other prisoners stand around me. I am a prisoner again. This time the cage is literal. I am furious. How long have we been here? How much time have we lost? The trail has to have gone cold by now. Tears trickled down my face before I furiously choked them back. No, I'm not going to cry here. Not now. I'm not going to give up. We have come so far. We can't stop now. In the cell, I faced myself and moved past the void in my heart. All the anger and hate and rage of all I've lost comes loose. All my pain, all my rage, all I've lost is here. I can't run or hide from it anymore. It, like me, is locked in a cage. I am tired of the cell I carried. I can't do it anymore. I let go, letting out my rage, my loss, letting all the love I hold for my friends and family take its place. I have grown on this journey. I am not the girl that started. And this isn't just about finding him. I have my own story to tell, my own family to protect. I'm not going to leave any of them behind. I examine the cell I'm in and the ones around it. There is a hall between the cells, and in it a man is reading something, relaxed by the bars that hold us here, unconcerned by the hostile glares directed at him. Will is in another cell, surrounded by prisoners, all of them human, each looking at each other with mistrust. Nikki looks defiant in her cell. Her eyes are cold and angry. Even the biggest, strongest looking men and women are quelled by the gaze of my friend. I have no idea why the other prisoners are being held. Some have the same eyes as the dragons, predatory and all-devouring. Others are just scared, just like us. We have to get out of here. I whistle. Will and Nikki look at me, both with relief. I am touched by their concern. The guard looks at the three of us, then gazes back down at his scroll. We are just children, he seems to think. What could we do? I howl. Will and Nikki join me, and soon the other prisoners follow. Our screams join in unison. The common desire to be free roars in us all. The guard puts down his scroll and stands. He bangs on our cells, speaking with command in his voice. We ignore him, screaming to the heavens. The building bristles at our screams, shaking in protest at the sound of our voices. The walls shed their skin, pieces falling to the ground. The guard motions for someone down the hall. Two men with visors and shades, dressed all in black, trudge down. They come to my cell and point at me, their demands for silence made apparent by the clanking of their sticks, so like mine. I keep screaming, defiant to the end. I am not afraid of their sticks, nor of the promise of pain. I've already been down this road before. And opportunity presents itself. They still think me a child. When the key turns and the door opens, two guards walk in and try to smother me, hold me down so the third can put me down. I evade the first and slide into the second, lunging at the third, the one holding the keys. I punch him in the throat. Surprised, he drops to his knees. Dropping the keys to the ground, I go after them. I don't have much time. I grab them and head to the cell door. Fumbling with the keys, I search for the one that clicks with the lock, before tumbling to my knees in agony, as I feel a painful thwack of the stick right to my back. The guards won't let me escape so easily. I can't breathe, much less move. So close and yet so far. I feel hands wrap around my throat. I feel the room grow dim. I can't stop now, but what can I do? The key. Where's the key? 1 second was in the cell door, the next it has vanished. Where can it have gone? My vision dims, and I almost fade into oblivion. Before all goes black, the hands around my throat are suddenly gone. I collapse to the floor, looking up at pandemonium. A few prisoners hold the guards I evaded down, taking turns exacting retribution. I see the key in the cell door, freedom a mere turn away. I crawl and hurry, knowing we don't have much time. More guards come down the hall, men in dragons' both. I turn the key with all my might, opening the door, tumbling back to the ground, watching the open door make caged animals men again, charging at the men and dragons that jailed them, each trying to stop the other. I remember our compound on fire, and know this too will end in flame. Is this all we know? Can we not do better than this? I feel arms grab me. I stand up, shaky. Will and Nikki are beside me, free of their own selves, looking for a way out. We need to leave. The city didn't welcome us. There has to be something better out there. Something more than a city of dragons. We crawl, slide down the hall, and find a sewer gate, just like the one we had back home. Only to open it and find it to be much, much worse. How do these people manage to live here? We hear sounds of men shouting, screaming and hissing, angry shouts. They are looking for us. We have to hurry. We plug our noses and jump in, hoping no one will follow us as we vanish into the darkness. We have escaped, but into what? The question haunts us in the darkness. Where do we go from here? And that is Jailbreak, ladies and gentlemen. It's my personal, one of my favorite things I've ever written. I really, really am shocked how much of a badass Kristen turned out to be writing her. I wanted her to be tough. I didn't want her to be a damsel in distress. And wow, just amazing. And so, Storm Dancer is available now on Amazon. If you guys want to pick it up there. You can also pick it up at Indigo, Kobo, Chapters, Barnes and Noble, anywhere online you can order a book or a Kobo or ebook or whatever format you have electronically, you can get it, and I promise you it'll be an amazing read. And that's almost over. I got one more thing to point out. I have a friend of mine working on actually I have several friends of mine. I did a movie let's say probably about 4 years, 5 years ago at this point, called Agophobia, and I got to meet two very talented people in Jenny McDonald and Nick Haywood. Nick Haywood and myself were film crew for the movie, and Jenny was a makeup artist. And Jenny and Nick, since I've last worked with them, have done a number of things. Both have a lot to be proud of. But in particular, right now they're doing this thing called Wolf Hands, which is a pitch video for this series, and they're trying to get people to vote to have this done. And you can do that at World Wide Web, www.storyhive.com/project/show/ID/847. I've worked with them. They are all amazing talents in their own right, and they deserve to have their products see some success. Wolf Hands was a comic book originally created by Braden Brickner out of Calgary. It's a comedy of all things, and they're looking for about a 9-minute length for this movie, and it sounds like it's going to be a very fun experience. I encourage everybody to vote for it, and you have until I think next week to do it. So once again, go to worldwideweb.storyhive.com/project/show. I'm going to repeat that. /ID/847. Once again, I want to thank them both, and I want to thank Ella, and I want to thank you, the listener. You can subscribe to this podcast via iTunes, or just keep watching, or keep listening, I should say. This has been Josh Pantalaresco, and this is just Joshing.
Josh.